The sun on Velrose was not like the sun on Earth. It was bigger, redder, and it burned the sand until everything looked like gold and fire. Tejo walked through this desert alone. His boots were heavy with sand. His water bottle was almost empty. His ship had crashed 3 days ago, and now he was just trying to survive. Tejo was not a soldier. He was not a hero. He was just a cargo pilot who took the wrong job. The company had promised good money for a simple delivery to the outer planets. But his ship's engine failed over Velrose, and now he was here, alone, lost, probably going to die. His small AI device beeped on his wrist. The voice was calm and female. Tejo, your water will finish in 6 hours. Your food will last 2 more days. I suggest you find shelter before the night comes. The temperature will drop to dangerous levels. I know, Mira, Tejo said to the AI. I'm trying. He looked around. There was nothing but sand and rocks and the red sky. But then he saw something strange. In the distance, there were shapes that did not look natural. They looked like buildings. Old buildings, broken and half buried in the sand. Mira, what is that? Scanning, the AI said. These appeared to be ancient ruins. No life signs detected. However, there is a strange energy reading coming from the center. Tejo did not care about strange energy. He cared about shelter. He walked toward the ruins. It took him 1 hour to reach them. The buildings were made of black stone that looked very old. Some walls had fallen. Some still stood. There were strange symbols carved into the stone, but Tejo could not read them. He was not a scientist or a historian. He was just a pilot. He walked deeper into the ruins. The sand here was less. The walls gave some shade from the terrible sun. Tejo sat down to rest and drink a little water. Then he heard it, a sound, like chains moving, like metal hitting stone. Tejo stood up fast. His heart beat hard in his chest. Mira, you said no life signs. I am detecting something now, Mira said. But it is not a normal life sign. It is very weak and very old. Tejo should have walked away. Any smart person would walk away. But he was curious. And maybe, just maybe, whatever was making that sound needed help. He followed the sound. It led him to a large open area in the center of the ruins. There was a circle of black pillars here, and in the middle of the circle, he saw her. Tejo stopped breathing. She was the most beautiful and strange creature he had ever seen. She looked like a woman, but she was not human. Her skin was pale like moonlight, but it had small silver scales that shined in the red sunlight. Her hair was long and white, falling to the ground like water. She had pointed ears and eyes that were closed, and on her back there were wings, beautiful wings with silver feathers. But the wings were broken, bent at wrong angles, damaged. She was on her knees, and her arms were stretched out to the sides. Chains made of golden light connected her wrists to the pillars around her. The chains hummed with energy. They looked like they were burning into her skin. Tejo walked closer slowly. The woman did not move. He was not sure if she was alive or dead. Mira, what is she? Unknown species, Mira said. But I am detecting very old records in my database. There are legends about beings like this. They were called the Sky Children. Dragonkin. They were supposed to be extinct. Dragonkin, Tejo whispered. He had heard stories when he was a child. Old Earth stories about dragons. But he never thought they were real. He looked at the chains. They were not normal chains. They were made of energy, and they looked ancient. Someone had put her here a very long time ago. Mira, how long has she been here? Based on the age of the ruins and the energy signature of the chains, I estimate between 300 and 500 years. 500 years. Tejo felt sick. She had been trapped here for 500 years, alone in this desert, unable to move or escape. He stepped closer. Her eyes were still closed. He could see now that she was breathing, but very slowly. Her face was thin. She looked weak and tired and broken. Hello, Tejo said softly. Can you hear me? Her eyes opened. Teho stepped back in shock. Her eyes were not human eyes. They were golden like the sun, with black pupils that were shaped like diamonds. They looked at him with confusion and fear and something else. Hope, maybe. Or maybe just surprise that anyone had found her. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. Her voice was gone. 500 years of silence had taken it from her. Teho felt his heart break a little. He did not know this woman. He did not know what she had done or why she was here. But he knew that no one deserved this. No one deserved to be chained and forgotten for 500 years. "I'm going to help you," he said. "Teho," Mira warned, "this is not advised. We do not know why she was imprisoned. She could be dangerous." "Look at her, Mira. Does she look dangerous?" The dragon woman looked at him. Her golden eyes were wet with tears. She understood him, even if she could not speak. She knew what he was saying. Teho took out his plasma cutter. It was a small tool meant for cutting metal and fixing ships. He did not know if it would work on energy chains. "I don't know if this will work," he said to her, "but I'm going to try." She looked at the tool in his hand. Then she looked at his face. And slowly, very slowly, she nodded. Teho walked to the first chain. It connected her right wrist to a pillar. He could feel the energy coming from it. It was hot and strange, and it made his skin feel wrong. But he did not stop. He turned on the plasma cutter and touched it to the chain. The chain screamed. That was the only way to describe it. It made a sound like a dying animal, and then it broke. The golden light disappeared. Her right arm fell free. The dragon woman gasped. It was the first sound she had made, just a small breath of air. But it meant everything. Teho moved to the second chain, and then the third, and then the fourth. Each one screamed when he cut it. Each one fought against him. But Teho did not stop. He kept cutting until all the chains were gone. The dragon woman fell forward. Teho dropped his tool and caught her before she hit the ground. She was light, too light, like she was made of air and feathers. He held her in his arms, and she looked up at him with those golden eyes. She tried to speak again. This time, a whisper came out. He could not understand the words. They were in a language he did not know, but he understood the feeling behind them. "Thank you." Teho held her gently. The red sun was setting, and soon it would be cold. But he did not care. He had found something in this desert, something more important than shelter or water. He had found someone who needed help, and he was going to help her, no matter what happened next. The night on Velros was as cruel as the day. The temperature dropped fast, and the wind carried ice from somewhere far away. Teho knew he had to find shelter quickly, or both he and the dragon woman would freeze. He carried her in his arms. She was still awake, but she was too weak to walk. Her golden eyes watched everything around them, but she did not speak. Perhaps she could not. Perhaps she had forgotten how. "Mira, find a shelter," Teho said. His teeth were starting to shake from the cold. "There is a partially intact structure 50 meters to the east," the AI replied. "It should provide adequate protection from the wind." Teho walked east. His legs hurt. His arms hurt. But he did not put her down. He would not leave her in the sand. The structure was an old building with 3 walls still standing and part of a roof. It was not much, but it was enough. Teho carried the dragon woman inside and set her down gently against the wall. "Stay here," he said. "I need to make a fire." She watched him with those strange golden eyes. She still did not speak, but she nodded slightly. Teho went outside and collected pieces of broken wood and dry plants. The desert did not have much to burn, but he found enough. He came back inside and used his plasma cutter to start a small fire. The flames were warm and orange. They pushed back the darkness and the cold. Teho sat down near the fire and looked at the dragon woman. In the firelight, she looked different. Her silver scales reflected the flames like tiny mirrors. Her white hair glowed orange and gold. Her broken wings were folded behind her, and he could see the damage more clearly now. Some feathers were missing. Some bones were bent. It would take a long time for them to heal, if they could heal at all. She was still wearing clothes, but they were old and torn. Just simple cloth, dark gray, like prisoner clothes. Tejo took off his jacket and gave it to her. "Here," he said, "you must be cold." She looked at the jacket. Then she looked at him. Her eyes were full of questions she could not ask. Why was he helping her? What did he want from her? Humans did not help others without wanting something back. That was what she believed. That was what she had learned. But she took the jacket and wrapped it around her thin shoulders. Tejo opened his bag and took out his food rations. He did not have much left, maybe 2 days of food, but he broke one ration bar in half and gave the bigger piece to her. "Eat," he said. "You need strength." She looked at the food. She smelled it, and then slowly she took a small bite. Her eyes closed, and a small sound came from her throat. It was almost like crying. Tejo understood. She had not eaten in a very long time, maybe centuries. The chains had kept her alive, but just barely, just enough to suffer. "What is your name?" Tejo asked softly. She looked at him. She opened her mouth and tried to speak. The sound that came out were rough and broken, like a machine that had not been used in years. Nari. She finally managed. "Nari," Tejo repeated. "That's a beautiful name. My name is Tejo." "Tejo," she said slowly. Each word was hard for her. Each sound was a battle. "Yes, Tejo, I'm human. From Earth." Nari's eyes changed when she heard the word human. There was something there. Recognition. And maybe fear. "You are human," she said. "Humans put me in chains." Tejo felt cold that had nothing to do with the weather. Humans had done this to her. His people had chained this woman in the desert for 500 years. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't know. I don't know why they did that." Nari looked at the fire. The flames danced in her golden eyes. "They feared us. My people. We were powerful. We could command storms, move mountains. They could not control us. So they destroyed us." Tejo listened in silence. His heart felt heavy. "They killed my family, my friends, everyone. I was the last one. They could not kill me. So they chained me, left me to suffer forever." Tears ran down her silver cheeks. They looked like liquid crystal in the firelight. "I'm sorry," Tejo said again. He knew the words were not enough. Nothing he said could fix what had been done to her. But he said them anyway. "I'm so sorry, Nari." She looked at him. Her eyes searched his face, looking for lies, looking for tricks. But she found nothing but truth. This human, this strange man who had cut her chains and carried her to shelter, was truly sorry. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you free me?" Tejo thought about the question. Why had he freed her? Mira had warned him not to. It would have been safer to walk away. But he did not walk away. He could not. "Because it was right," he said simply. "Because you were suffering. Because no one deserves to be alone like that." Nari stared at him. In all her long years, in all her memories of humans, she had never met one like this. The humans she knew were cruel. They took what they wanted. They destroyed what they feared. They never helped without reason. But this one was different. "You are strange for a human," she said. Tejo smiled a little. "Yeah, I get that a lot." The fire crackled between them. Outside, the wind howled. But inside their small shelter, it was warm and safe. Nari pulled his jacket tighter around herself and leaned her head back against the wall. "I am tired," she said. "Then sleep?" Tejo said. "I'll keep watch." "You will not leave?" "No, I promise." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she closed her golden eyes. Within minutes, her breathing became slow and deep. She was asleep. Tejo watched her sleep. The fire made shadows dance on the walls. He thought about what she had told him. Humans had done this to her. His ancestors, maybe people from Earth, had traveled to this planet, found her people, and destroyed them out of fear. He felt shame, deep burning shame. He knew he was not responsible for what happened 500 years ago. But he was human, and humans had done this terrible thing. "Mira," he said quietly. "Yes, Teo?" Is what she said true? Did humans really do this? There was a pause. Then Mira spoke. "I have limited historical records, but there are some files about early human expansion into this sector. There are mentions of a conflict with a species called the Sky Children. The records say they were a threat to human colonies. They were dealt with, Tejo repeated. The words tasted like poison. The records do not give details. But based on what Nari has told you and the evidence of her imprisonment, it appears humans did attack her people." Tejo looked at the sleeping dragon woman. She looked so peaceful now, so fragile. It was hard to believe that anyone could see her as a threat. But humans feared what they did not understand. They always had. And when they feared something, they destroyed it. "Mira, I'm going to help her," Tejo said. "I don't care what my ancestors did. I'm going to make it right." "How will you do that, Tejo? You are stranded on this planet with limited resources. You cannot even save yourself." "I don't know yet," Tejo admitted, "but I'll figure out. I have to." The night continued. The fire burned low, and Tejo added more to keep it alive. He did not sleep. He watched Nari, watched the fire, watched the stars through the broken roof. Somewhere out there, human ships flew between planets. Human cities stood on 100 worlds. Humans thought they were the masters of the galaxy. But they had forgotten the cost of their power. They had forgotten the people they destroyed to build their empire. They had forgotten Nari and her people. Tejo would not forget. He would remember. And he would try somehow to make things right. When the sun finally rose red and angry, Nari opened her eyes. She looked at Tejo, who was still sitting by the dead fire, tired but awake. "You stayed," she said. Her voice was a little stronger now. "I promised," Tejo said. "I always keep my promises." Nari looked at him with wonder. This human was different. He was kind. He was honest. He was everything she thought humans could never be. Maybe, she thought, not all humans were monsters. Maybe this one was something else entirely. Days passed on the desert planet. Tejo and Nari stayed in the ruins, waiting and hoping. Tejo had sent a distress signal from his crashed ship before he left it. He did not know if anyone had received it. He did not know if help would ever come. But he did not give up. He never gave up. Each day, Tejo went out to search for food and water. The desert was harsh, but not completely dead. There were small animals that lived under sand. There were plants that stored water in their roots. Tejo learned to find them. He was not good at it at first, but he got better. Nari was still weak, but she was getting stronger. The food and water helped. The rest helped. But most of all, Tejo helped. His kindness was like medicine for her soul. Every day, she believed a little more that not all humans were evil. She started to talk more. Her voice was still rough, but words came easier now. She told Tejo about her people, the Sky Children. They had lived on many planets. They had flown through the stars before humans even left their small blue world. They had been artists and singers and builders of beautiful things. "We never wanted war," Nari said one evening. They were sitting by the fire, eating the small meal Tejo had prepared. "We just wanted to live." But humans came. So many humans. They spread across the galaxy like fire. And everything they touched, they burned. Tejo listened in silence. He did not try to defend his people. He knew she was telling the truth. "My mother was the last queen of our people," Nari continued. "She tried to make peace. She sent messages to the humans. She offered to share our knowledge, our world, everything. But they did not want peace. They wanted everything for themselves." "What happened to her?" Tejo asked softly. Nari's golden eyes filled with pain. They killed her. In front of me. They made me watch. And then they put me in chains. They said I would be a reminder. A warning to anyone who thought they could stand against human power. Teho felt tears in his own eyes. He reached out and took her hand. Her skin was cool and smooth, covered with tiny scales that felt like silk. I am sorry. Nari. I'm so sorry. She looked at their joined hands. No human had ever touched her with gentleness. No human had ever held her hand like it was precious. Why are you different? She asked. All the humans I knew were cruel. They laughed at suffering. They enjoyed pain. But you are not like them. Why? Teho thought about the question. I don't know, he said honestly. Maybe because I was never powerful. I was never important. I was just a cargo pilot, carrying boxes from one planet to another. I never had the chance to be cruel. I never had power over anyone. But you have power now, Nari said. You could leave me here. You could take all the food and water for yourself. You could survive longer if you did not share with me. But you share, you give. Why? Because that's not who I am, Teho said. My mother taught me that we're all connected. Humans, aliens, everyone. When one person suffers, we all suffer. When one person is kind, we all become better. I believe that. I have to believe that. Nari stared at him for a long time. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled. It was a small smile, just a tiny curve of her lips. But it transformed her face. She looked younger. She looked alive. She looked beautiful. You are a good man, Teho, she said. The best I have ever known. Teho felt warmth spread through his chest. He had been called many things in his life. Stupid, unlucky, a failure. But no one had ever called him a good man. Not like that. Not with such sincerity. Thank you, he said. That means a lot. The days continued to pass. Nari grew stronger. She could stand now and walk short distances. Her wings were still broken, but they had started to heal. The feathers that were missing began to grow back, tiny and soft like new leaves. She also began to teach Teho her language. It was beautiful, full of sounds like wind and water and singing birds. Teho was not good at it, but he tried. Every mistake he made, Nari corrected gently. Every word he got right, she praised him. You learn fast, she said one day. Faster than I expected. I had a good teacher, Teho replied in her language. His accent was terrible, but she understood him. She laughed. It was the first time he had heard her laugh. The sound was like bells, like music, like something magical. It filled the ruined building and made the old stone seem less cold. Your accent is very bad, she said, still laughing. You sound like a baby trying to talk. Hey, I'm trying my best here, Teho said, pretending to be offended. I know, Nari said, and her eyes were warm. And that is why I love teaching you. Love. The word hung in the air between them. Nari's smile faded a little. She had not meant to say that word. Or maybe she had. She was not sure anymore. Teho felt his heart beat faster. He told himself not to read too much into it. She was just being friendly. She was grateful to him. That was all. But when he looked into her golden eyes, he saw something more, something deeper, something that scared him and excited him at the same time. Nari, he said slowly, when help comes, what will you do? Where will you go? She looked away. The question was painful. She had no home, no family, no people. She was the last of her kind, alone in a galaxy that tried to destroy her. I do not know, she admitted. I have nowhere to go, no one to go to. I am alone. You're not alone, Teho said. You have me. She looked at him again. Her eyes were full of hope and fear and something else, something beautiful. Do I? She asked. Do I really have you, Teho? He took both her hands in his. Her silver scales shimmered in the firelight. Her white hair fell around her face like a curtain of snow. Yes, he said, for as long as you want me. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. It was a gesture of trust. She had told him once. Among her people, it meant, I give you my soul. They stayed like that for a long time, forehead to forehead, hands clasped together. The fire crackled. The stars turned above them. And for the first time in 500 years, Nari felt something she thought she had lost forever. She felt hope. When help comes, she said softly, I want to stay with you. If you will have me. I will have you, Tejo whispered. I will always have you. Outside, the wind blew sand across the desert. Somewhere, a ship might be traveling toward them. Or maybe no one was coming at all. Maybe they would be here forever, alone on this forgotten planet. But somehow, that did not seem so terrible anymore. As long as they had each other, they could survive anything. As long as they had each other, they were not alone. 2 weeks had passed since Tejo freed Nari from her chains. The desert was still hot during the day and cold at night, but they had made the ruins into something like a home. They had routines now. Tejo hunted for food in the morning. Nari gathered water from the plants. In the evening, they sat by the fire and talked until the stars came out. Nari was almost fully healed. Her wings had grown strong again, the silver feathers catching the light like mirrors. She could fly now, short distances at first, then longer. Watching her fly was like watching a dream come alive. She moved through the air like she was made of wind and light. But something else had changed too. Nari's eyes, which had been dull and sad when Tejo first found her, now sparkled with life. She laughed more. She smiled more. She had started to live again. One morning, Tejo woke up to find Nari standing outside, looking at the sky. Her wings were spread wide, and her white hair danced in the wind. She looked powerful. She looked beautiful. She looked like a goddess. Nari. Tejo walked up beside her. What are you doing? Listening, she said. Can you feel it? There's a storm coming. Tejo looked at the sky. It was clear and red like always. He did not see any clouds. He did not feel any change in the wind. I don't feel anything, he admitted. Nari smiled. You would not. Humans cannot feel the sky the way my people can. But trust me, a storm is coming. A big one. Should we find better shelter? No. She turned to face him, and her golden eyes were bright with something he had not seen before. Excitement, power, joy. I want to show you something. Something I have not done in 500 years. She took his hand and led him to the open area where he had first found her. The black pillars still stood there, the broken chains lying dead on the ground. Nari walked to the center of the circle and let go of his hand. Stay here, she said, and watch. She spread her wings wide. She raised her arms to the sky, and she began to sing. Her voice was nothing like when she spoke. When she spoke, her words were rough from centuries of silence. But when she sang, her voice was pure and clear and powerful. The sound filled the air like liquid silver. It rose up to the sky like a prayer, and the sky answered. Tejo watched in amazement as clouds began to form above them. They came from nowhere, swirling and spinning around the ruins. The red sunlight disappeared, replaced by gray and purple and black. Lightning flashed inside the clouds, but it did not strike the ground. It danced in the sky, following the pattern of Nari's song. The wind picked up, but it did not hurt. It swirled around Tejo like a gentle hand, pushing his hair back, making his clothes dance. The air smelled different now. Fresh, clean, alive. Rain began to fall. On a planet where it never rained, water fell from the sky. Tejo lifted his face to the clouds and felt the drops hit his skin. They were warm and soft and wonderful. Nari continued to sing. Her voice rose higher, and the storm grew stronger. But it was not a destructive storm. It was a gift, a miracle, a display of power that was beautiful instead of terrible. After several minutes, Nari lowered her arms. Her song ended. The clouds slowly faded, and The red sun returned. But the ground was wet now. Small pools of water had formed in the sand. Plants that had been dry and dead were suddenly green and alive. Nari turned to face Teo. She was breathing hard, and there were tears on her cheeks. But she was smiling. "This is what I am," she said. "This is my power. This is what humans feared." Teho walked toward her. He did not feel fear. He did not feel the need to run or fight or control. He felt only wonder, only amazement, only love. "That was incredible," he said. "You're incredible. I could destroy cities with this power," Nari said. "I could sink ships. I could bring floods and hurricanes. I could kill thousands of humans with a single storm. But you won't." "No, I won't." She took his hand again. "Because of you. Because you showed me that kindness is stronger than hate. Because you taught me that power is not about destruction. It is about creation. It is about healing. It is about love." Teho felt his heart swell. He pulled her close and held her. Her wings wrapped around them both, creating a cocoon of silver feathers. "I was angry for so long," Nari whispered against his chest. 500 years of hate. 500 years of wanting revenge. I dreamed of finding humans and making them pay for what they did to my people. I dreamed of storms that would wipe their cities from the face of every planet. What changed? Teho asked. "You changed me." She looked up at him. "You showed me that hate only creates more hate. You showed me that even after everything humans did, there can still be good ones. There can still be hope." She touched his face with her cool, scaled hand. "I do not want revenge anymore. I want something better. I want to build. I want to heal. I want to love." "I love you," Teho said. The words came out before he could stop them. He had not planned to say them. But they were true. Every syllable was true. Nari's eyes widened. Then she smiled, a real smile, full of warmth and joy and something sacred. "I love you too," she said. "I did not know I could still love. I thought that part of me died with my people. But you brought it back. You brought me back." She kissed him then, soft and gentle, like the first rain after a long drought. Teho kissed her back, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the universe. Because she was. When they finally pulled apart, Teho looked at the wet ground, at the green plants, at the woman he loved. "What do we do now?" he asked. "We wait for your rescue," Nari said. "And then we leave this place. We find a new home. Together. What about humans? What if they're afraid of you? What if they want to put you in chains again?" Nari looked at the sky, where the last traces of her storm were fading. "Then you will protect me. And I will protect you. That is what love means, is it not? Protecting each other?" "Yes," Teho said. "That's exactly what it means." They walked back to their shelter, hand in hand. The desert was still dangerous. The future was still uncertain. But they were not afraid anymore. They had each other. And that was enough. That night, as they lay together looking at the stars through the broken roof, Teho thought about his life before Velrose. His small apartment, his boring job, his loneliness that he pretended did not exist. He had thought that was living. But he was wrong. This was living. This was what it meant to be alive. To love. To be loved. To have someone who would fly through storms with you. He had crashed on this planet, expecting to die. Instead, he had found something worth living for. The rescue ship came on the 20th day. Teho heard it before he saw it. A distant rumble that grew louder and louder until a large vessel appeared in the red sky. It was a standard rescue ship from the cargo company he worked for. The letters on the side said Galaxy Transport Services in faded yellow paint. Teho stood outside the ruins and waved his arms. Beside him, Nari watched with nervous eyes. Her wings were folded tight against her back, hidden under a large cloak Teho had made from old cloth they found in the ruins. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "I can hide. I can fly away. You do not have to tell them about me." "I'm not hiding you," Teho said firmly. "You're not a secret. You're not something to be ashamed of. You're the woman I love." The ship landed in a cloud of sand and dust. A door opened, and 3 people came out. 2 were security guards with weapons. The third was a woman, in a clean uniform with a tablet in her hands. "Kim Taeho," the woman called out. "Cargo pilot, registration number 7749. "That's me," Taeho said. The woman walked closer, her guards following behind. She stopped when she saw Nari. Her eyes went wide. She looked at the tablet, then back at Nari, then at Taeho. "What is this?" she asked. "Who is she?" "Her name is Nari," Taeho said. "She's coming with me." The woman's face became hard. "We received your distress signal. We came to rescue you. We did not agree to transport any passengers. I'm not leaving without her." The guards raised their weapons slightly, not pointing at anyone yet, but ready. The tension in the air grew thick. Nari stepped forward. She lowered her cloak, revealing her silver scales, her white hair, her golden eyes. The guards stepped back in fear. One of them whispered a word that Taeho did not understand. "Sky Child," the woman breathed. "I thought they were extinct." "Almost," Nari said. Her voice was calm and strong. "I am the last one. Humans killed my people. Humans chained me in this desert for 500 years. But this human," she pointed at Taeho, "freed me. This human saved me. And I will not be separated from him." The woman looked at Taeho with new eyes. "You freed a sky child? Do you know what they are capable of?" "Yes," Taeho said. "I do. She showed me. She can cause storms. She can make it rain. She could probably destroy this ship with a thought. But she won't, because she's not a monster. She's a person. A good person. Better than most humans I know." The woman was silent for a long moment. She looked at her tablet, scrolling through information. Then she looked up at Nari. "The old records say your people were dangerous. They say you started the war." "The old records are lies," Nari said simply, "written by the winners. We never started any war. We only wanted peace. Can you prove that?" Nari smiled sadly. "No. All the proof died with my people. All I have are my words. And my heart. And this man who believed me when he had no reason to." The woman looked at Taeho. "You believe her?" "Eat duh. Even though she could be lying? Even though she could be dangerous?" Taeho took Nari's hand. Her cool fingers intertwined with his warm ones. "Yes, because I know her. I have spent 20 days with her. I have seen her cry for her lost family. I have seen her laugh at my bad jokes. I have seen her heal plants with rain. She called from an empty sky. She is not dangerous. She is wonderful." The woman was quiet again. The guards looked at her, waiting for orders. The wind blew sand around them all. Finally, the woman sighed. "Fine, she can come. But if anything happens, it's on your head." "I understand," Taeho said. "Thank you." They boarded the ship together. The guards watched Nari with suspicious eyes, but they did not stop her. The woman led them to a small cabin with 2 beds and a window that showed the stars. "We'll reach the nearest station in 3 days," the woman said. "Stay here. Don't cause trouble." She left, closing the door behind her. Taeho and Nari stood alone in the cabin. Through the window, they watched Velrose grow smaller as the ship rose into space. The desert planet that had been their prison was now just a red dot among millions of other stars. "We did it," Taeho said. "We're free." Nari put her head on his shoulder. "Free," she repeated. I had forgotten what that word felt like. They sat on one of the beds and watched the stars together. The ship hummed around them, carrying them toward an uncertain future. They did not know what would happen when they reached human space. They did not know how people would react to Nari. They did not know if they would be welcomed or feared. But they knew one thing. They knew they would face it together. "What do you want to do?" Taeho asked, "When we get to the station. What is your dream?" Nari thought for a moment. "I want to find a quiet place. A small planet, maybe, or a moon. Somewhere with water and green things and sky. I want to build a home. I want to grow food. I want to live in peace. That sounds nice. And I want to sing again, not to call storms, just to sing. The songs of my people, the songs my mother taught me. I do not want them to be forgotten. Teho nodded. I'd like to hear those songs. You will? Nari promised. Every day if you want. I want. She smiled and kissed his cheek. What about you? What is your dream, Teho? He thought about it. He had never really had a dream before. He had just survived, day after day, doing his job, paying his bills, not really living. I guess, he said slowly, my dream is you, being with you, making you happy. That's enough for me. Nari's eyes filled with tears. But they were not sad tears. They were grateful tears. Happy tears. You have already made me happy, she said. You made me happy when you cut my chains. You made me happy when you shared your food. You made me happy when you stayed awake all night to keep me safe. Every moment with you has been happiness. Teho pulled her close. They held each other as the ship flew through the endless dark of space. Outside, stars burned like tiny flames. Galaxies spiraled like silver rivers. The universe was vast and cold and beautiful. And in this small cabin, on this small ship, two people had found something that made the vastness feel less empty. They had found love. Teho thought about his life before Velrose. He had been alone. He had been empty. He had been going through the motions of living without really living at all. Now everything was different. He had a purpose. He had a person. He had a future worth fighting for. He looked at Nari, at her silver scales and golden eyes and white hair. She was alien. She was different. She was the last of a people his ancestors had tried to destroy. But she was also kind. She was also strong. She was also the woman who had changed his heart. I love you, Nari, he said. I love you too, Teho, she replied. The ship carried them forward, toward tomorrow, toward whatever came next. They did not know what waited for them, but they knew they would face it together, because that is what love means. That is what it means to be human. Not technology, not power, not conquest, kindness, compassion. The courage to free someone from chains, even when it is dangerous. The courage to love, even when it hurts. That is humanity's greatest strength. And in the vast, cold universe, that strength is the brightest light of all.